All right. So in five, four,
We're already recording.
two, go.
Hello, everyone out there, and Dad. We're back again. After Artem told me he was going to record one without me, we're back together after our lovers' quarrel. It's definitely not because of Artem's new haircut. But anyways, we're going to today we're going to talk about stress. And basically, Artem and I got into a deep, long fight about our friendship / courtship rituals, and decided that basically every podcast we've done, it's been me yelling at Artem about physiology, and Artem really not knowing how to respond. My water's all the way over there. 1 minute. There we go.
Okay.
And so, it wasn't really a conversation. It was more like me yelling at Artem.
Podcast is with that. Well, I'm keeping this in the podcast.
Хорошо.
Very хорошо.
Anyways, it's a little Russian there for you listeners out there. That's right, I'm bilingual. Right.
Wait, I'm gonna move.
Okay, you move.
It's like this is not working. It ruins my. I'm gonna go into the closet.
Right now we're in MTV Cribs with Artem.
Hey, welcome to my crib, man.
I think it was last week. My dad said that it looked like I was under my bunk bed, and now it looks like Artem is under his bunk bed. He's literally sitting in a closet. This is amazing. Okay. All right. This is professionalism right here, people. Anyways, stress podcast.
Adaptation, man.
What'd you say?
I said adaptation.
There you go.
Yes.
What is it? It's the thing you always say. Oh, I'm blanking on it now.
What? Fair enough.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
But you didn't get that. It's not from you. Anyways, so we're talking about stress today, and what we're going to try to do here is I'm going to try to go through some physiology stuff of stress, which is one of my favorite topics in the world, and then Artem is going to try to kind of go through like some practical stuff, and we're going to ask each other questions and talk about this a little more than we have in the past, because now we know what's up. Anyways, so I have a notebook, I have a notepad in front of me that tells me what to say basically. And I'll just start with this right now, because I think everyone out there is going to want to know where I'm going to pull this from.
No.
But so there's a few books here called, one is Allostasis, Homeostasis, and the Physiological Cost of Adaptation, which is just a great book. It's 300 and some odd pages. Like, it's not that long. It's sick, actually.
I thought you were gonna say there's, you got me worried.
But I think everyone should read that book. It's pretty cool. It's just like interesting. And then it's like Psychology of Stress or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's a little blue book. This one's even shorter. And I think it's wicked good too. And then the 2005. What?
You don't have the books with you?
No.
I thought you could show like the covers and things, but it's okay.
No, I can't. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And then the 2005 version of Kramer's Endocrinology for Sport textbook. Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, of course. And then there's a pretty recent Sapolsky podcast where our good friend Robert Sapolsky comes on and talks about stress with a doctor whose name I totally don't remember, but I can pull that up right now.
Go ahead.
And so, that's what we're going to do. It's called, all right, there you go. It's called 51, Robert Sapolsky, Ph.D., The Pervasive Effect of Stress. Is it killing you? The answer is almost always yes. It's a good time. Anyways, so we're gonna go. I'm gonna kick this off, I guess, if
Oh,
Artem has no further things to say.
no, I'm looking forward to this. So please hit us with number one.
I'm not looking forward to this. So
Oh.
what I have written on this is just hormones and shit for number one. So basically, I think a lot of people out there think that hormones are like the prime, like biological adaptation mechanism for you as a human being, and I think that they are not entirely wrong, but they're pretty wrong, and that hormones are more like regulators of things and less or like kind of almost like add-ons to certain adaptations as opposed to like the direct cause of specific adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
And just because if you look at kind of research and stuff like that, the large amount of testosterone in the blood is not free. The large amount of cortisol in the blood is not free. And like there's just so many different things that influence hormones from like sunlight to sleep the previous night to REM cycles in sleep, to like how depressed you are, to aggression, and then weirdly enough on like the flip side, if certain hormones kind of affect that too. So like for example, oh fuck, well, Behave is now on the reference list too because I'm pulling this from Behave. I believe it's oxytocin. Is like the befriend kind of thing. Like you want to like go and be friends with someone when you're like high off of oxytocin. So it's kind of cool, But then but you can also be very friendly to someone and have oxytocin being released.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a two-edged sword. And then same kind of thing with testosterone. Like, so weirdly enough, in the Great Depression, testosterone in men was super high because like you were always competing for currency, right? And then like now we see kind of men not being like men, if that makes sense. Like testosterone's kind of low now because like no one lifts, no one's aggressive, and no one is competing for anything anymore.
I have a question on this real quick.
Go.
So I was actually gonna go ask about this, but you kind of like already went into like because I feel that today men are just, well, like you said, they're not really men, And but my question for you is like, do you think like this is like what has also like kind of led to this whole LBT and like whatever the letters are, like community kind of also into that? Do you think this is like part of like one of the factors to that, or maybe it's like just. I feel like again, like the drop in testosterone definitely like affects somehow, like then like people kind of like saying like I feel something inside of me, It's like I don't know, maybe like I'm completely off with this, but it's like a wild guess.
Here's another reference right here. "Come as You Are" by Emily Nagoski. I really couldn't care less about the sex part of that book, but what's super interesting about that book is she talks a lot about like why it's like almost like why women are the way they are when it comes to like sexual needs, like personality, all that sort of stuff, and it's interesting from that perspective. And I'm literally just reading it because Ben House recommended it, and literally like my only thought was like Ben is so into. I'm saying Ben like I know this dude, but like he's just all of his research is in like well-trained men, and he's like so into testosterone that him recommending a women's health book, like fuck it, like I'm gonna read that, you know what I mean? And it's interesting, and so she kind of brings up that like some women think they have a higher testosterone, and that's why like they want sex more than other women.
Артем, ты мою сигарету положил куда? В тот самый? Артема!
Я положил. Оно обратно.
Что ты не понял?
Мы еще подкаст уже делаем. Это будет на Ютубе. все будет на Ютубе.
Все, до свидания. На каком Ютубе? Вы что, меня на Ютуб, что ли, засовываете? Бессовестные.
Honestly, I'd like to apologize. I'd like to apologize for this a little bit inconvenience.
That was incredible. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh my god. Okay, so we've had your mom on the podcast. That means my dad has to come on.
Yeah. I hope not in the same manner though.
Oh, sure. Anyways.
Well,
Wow,
yeah,
that was incredible.
the testosterone and like sexual desire in women kind of.
Like that's not even close to true. It's not because of more testosterone. It's not because of less testosterone. It just like kind of is how your brain is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, kind of that sort of thing is more like what the difference makes and like what the difference is in people. So like hormones don't really influence that as much as you would think. Like there are requisite levels to be like a male because you have testicles and not ovaries.
Yeah.
You like that's why like the sex change process like requires the hormonal replacement.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily to do with like raw test levels and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think it's more it's just more of like a brain thing, and I don't want to say like it's a decision because I don't personally like I don't have any grounds to talk about it because I'm a straight white male. Like I just don't know.
Yeah.
And some of my closest friends are questioning. Not you, dumbass.
I
But
was thinking
I wasn't-
about me, man.
joke for you, and it's no one you know, but like some of my closest friends are questioning, and I literally haven't seen this individual since they started like questioning what their sexuality and gender were. So I don't have a grounds to talk about it yet. Pretty much is why I'm trying to sidestep this question. And your mom did a pretty good job breaking up the awkwardness for me. So
Yeah.
thanks,
Thank
Mama
you.
Baba.
No, because honestly, like, I wouldn't say I've like been questioning my sexuality, but like, there's definitely been like I felt, at least with Camden, like Camden, it's like, it's like,
Sure, let's use names.
yeah, why not? But like, just with him, it's kind of that, like, we're both just joking about it, like, where it's like it'd be a really fun thing where you're two really good friends as dudes, and he's like. Everything's awesome, but like just like the whole intimacy part is like where I don't like swing that way. But like everything else is like it's awesome, like you're like a really good dude, like your guys just like you can like but it's because like even though like some people say like oh my wife, my girlfriend is like it's like my best friend and it's like I can be myself. Like I feel like you can't really be yourself around because it's like it's a different sex. It's different just interplay. I feel like that's just like my own opinion, like how I do it, but I don't know, maybe like some people.
I have no idea, to be
Uh,
really honest with you.
Well, anyhow,
So I'm just gonna
I
go back to physiology.
Yeah, let's just move on.
So yeah, so then the next point I have is just homeostatic / hormetic, which I'll be honest, I don't really remember why I put that, but I'm gonna go with what I think right now because I can. So hormesis is it's a bell curve, and if I have to draw it, I will because I have a marker here. But hormesis is basically like a bell curve that at the lowest end, too little of something is bad for you, and at the lowest end, nothing is bad for you. At the highest end, everything is bad for you. In the middle, there's like an optimal range of where something is good for you and where it crosses over the line as being bad. So, like, alcohol is probably a really good example. you can start, right? Like the recommended daily allowance for men is like 2 drinks a night or something like that.
Mm.
Um, and people have found if you get that, like your triglycerides are impacted. I think helpfully, like you become healthier. I don't know if it's with like beer. I think it's with like red wine.
Yeah,
Um,
I just wanted to ask that, like what kind of drinks are we talking? Like,
yeah, I believe it's with red wine,
Okay, yeah.
but I have not read those studies, so I do not know for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
don't quote me. But if um, let me see. But then, right, obviously, if you go too many drinks for too many nights in a row, for too many years in a row, then your liver gets fatty and, it gets scarred, and then you can't, like, metabolize anything anymore, and you die. And you get jaundice, and it's terrible. Like, from a chronic perspective. On an acute perspective, you become how Artem becomes.
I was gonna say though, like like for people to make it even more simpler, if you do that, you're basically gonna become like the live, laugh, love Karen, with the short hair, glasses. That's kind of like, so. If you don't want to become that, watch the amount of, like, the daily basis of your drinking, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
So yeah, so like hormones are either right. It's hormetic, like either too little, right? Too little is bad for you, and too much can, like we don't truthfully, like I don't know what happens when there's too much hormone in you, because again, if you read Behave, there's a nice little chapter about testosterone and how basically like it makes you more of what you already are. So if Artem is like a really nice guy and I'm a terrible human being, and both of us tried to decide to get on testosterone, then he becomes a nicer human being and I become a worse person. Basically, is what like hypothetically happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so and then some are homeostatic, like right, like aldosterone, regulates fluid, and obviously you need a certain amount of fluid in your body to survive.
I have a question.
So, yo,
So like, because like with the testosterone thing, like say like I'm a nice guy, you're a bad guy, but like is there like a start basis kind of where it's something like the certain amount of hormones that like they dedicate to, like decides that I'm gonna be a nice guy. Like, is there like something, I don't know how much you know about this, but is there like something there, or like do you understand what I'm trying to ask, or like?
I'm gonna wait to respond to that until I get to number 2, because I
Okay,
think number 2 will answer your question.
okay,
Because I do think it does have to do with stress
yeah.
and like personality, and I think like number 2 will do a good job of answering the question for you.
Okay, yeah.
So now, like, I just kind of am about to just run through all the hormones that I felt like talking about. Um,
Go ahead.
so cortisol, insulin, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. And so, like, just kind of real quick here, what they do. Cortisol mobilizes glucose at about 30 seconds after the initial, like, reaction to stress. Insulin uptakes glucose from the bloodstream based on its interaction with the insulin receptor. Then it stimulates KT. I never get that. And then which stimulates GLUT4 to translocate, basically meaning like if this is the cell and the GLUT4 is right here, it moves to this location. It basically just like grabs glucose and then comes back into the cell. And then epinephrine is like 2 to 3 seconds after the initial stressor, and then norepinephrine, same thing, 2 to 3 seconds after the initial stressor. If we go back to Dr. Palone's class, then we can remember that in the blood, norepinephrine is only about 20%, and then in the neurons, that was about 80%, and then it's flipped for epinephrine. And then both of those just serve to kind of increase like mobilization, so it increases heart rate, increases vasoconstriction, or blocks vasoconstriction, depending on which receptor in the blood vessel it actually interacts with. And it actually increases like focus and alertness. and sometimes aggression, depending on the scenario in the brain. So there you go. So this is in the case of like a very like quick. It's I don't like using the lion chasing you thing because everyone uses that. Let's just think of a very stressful thing that happens. Let's just say Artem runs at you with a knife. Okay, I don't know why he would do that, but he might.
Oh yeah.
Let's say Artem runs at you with a knife. Then all these things are mobilized immediately, and all these things happen immediately. But let's say over the course of like 3 years, every day you're going to school, and Artem says, "Hey, what's up?" and then flicks you in the ear. Eventually, you learn to become. This is like kind of getting to number 2, so whatever. But Artem flicks you in the ear every day, and then eventually you learn to become kind of afraid, just of everything. And so you're chronically now releasing all 4 of these hormones, which actually start to act to make you become insulin sensitive or insulin resistant, and fatter, which is just triggering more and more insulin resistance. So, like if they're released all together because you're chronically stressed out, because the human body is only really like meant to be stressed quickly and then it be over with.
Mm-hmm.
So like chronic stress, like low grade chronic stress is what really F's you up here. Yeah, and then this is the last thing in number 1, so it's only taken me 25 minutes to get through. Basically, you have the stress, right, incoming through vision, auditory, like whatever you want. Then it goes to your brain, which goes to the hypothalamus, which releases corticotropin releasing factor, corticotropin releasing hormone, which actually can move across the blood-brain barrier, interact with the amygdala, which is kind of like the emotional fear center of the brain, which increases kind of like how alert you are and how fearful you are. And then, so this is another thing that can be secreted at low levels, which also affects your mood and kind of how you are. But then coming back, corticotropin releasing hormone, fucking mouthful, moves to the pituitary, anterior pituitary to be specific, which releases adrenocorticotropin hormone, which moves to the adrenal cortex, which releases cortisol, to like kind of regulate your sympathetic nervous system to kind of be ready to respond to more stressors. And then the adrenal cortex is kind of cool because it actually, the adrenal glands actually have like this large mass of neurons, sympathetic neurons that kind of move to it. And they actually function to like refill the sympathetic nerves with norepinephrine, which is kind of cool to me. So that you can you're always kind of ready. And so like that's kind of one of the mechanisms that people think like adrenal fatigue is both like the cortisol release and the resynthesis of the actual neurotransmitters and stuff like that. And so which is kind of interesting to me, I think. But hey, whatever, Anyways, let's move on to number 2. Hopefully I can cover this in like 4 minutes. So number 2 is just ping pong the brain, which I think is going to answer Artie's question. So what's kind of cool is that stress moves through the brain through what I believe are called pyramidal neurons. I'm not 100% on this, to be honest. But if you want to read allostasis, homeostasis, status adaptation, prove me wrong, you can. And I believe that it's signaled through dopamine. Again, not really sure on this. Read it a long time ago. Kind of just going with it here. So basically, the stress comes in, and then the decision is like made. So you're trying to go. So it moves from the prefrontal cortex, which is like a decision-making center of the brain. Of like, do we react to this? Like, is it Artem coming to like punch me in the arm in a friendly manner, or is it like a dude with a machete walking into my room when I'm asleep at night? Like, which is it? Like, is it a serial murderer or is it my friend? Which are we going to respond to heavier? So then it moves to the hippocampus, which is the memory center of the brain. And it's like, how have we reacted to this in the past? So if Artem walked up to me, punched me in the arm, Like I'd kind of recall that I've never just turned around and swung at him before. But if someone were to come in with a machete, then I would say, okay, how have I reacted to extreme threatening situations in the past?
Mm.
And then that signal will then move to the amygdala,
Mm.
which creates an emotional context off of what's happening, like, and what's happened in the past. So, right, like maybe, you punching me in the arm, like, is just our way of saying, like, what's up? How's your day going? Like, I'm having a really good day, and it makes me feel good that you're having a good day.
Mm.
You know, and so like that's then that is going through my brain. But then, right, like for some reason, like I don't know, I had an accident with a machete when I was younger, and I don't know, almost cut my toe off or something. I don't know. And so I am a better example is like rattlesnakes. Like none of us have like ever learned to be afraid of rattlesnakes. We just like are afraid of rattlesnakes.
Mm.
And so like that, like we have that like emotional, like we're afraid of rattlesnakes kind of thing. Which is from like, should we react to this rattling thing? Is it a rattlesnake? Because does it fit like my schema of what a rattlesnake is, like the heuristic of what a rattlesnake is, and then move it to like, am I afraid of this? Yes, I'm very afraid of being bitten by a rattlesnake. They're highly dangerous to me. Moving to the frontal lobe, which is the final kind of part here, like a final decision, like how do we react? And then eventually, like, moving to the motor cortex where you can actually stimulate like a reaction, whether to punch, kick, scream, yell. And so I got through that in sub 4 minutes. Let's go. So like now, right, you have to think about. So then, like, with regards to your question, I think that's like that process in the brain. I think has to do with how people. What was your question? I don't even remember. But I just know it has to do with your question.
Yeah. But so basically, my question, just like sticking on this topic, is that because I know that before I read, and people always like usually say as well, like where that people are afraid of, for example, like snakes, but you never encountered a snake before, but there's this fear of snakes, or even like the fear of heights, like something that it's like it's a genetic thing, like you got it from your parents or like your grandmother, that kind of, like, they maybe had like some trauma with that, and it's kind of been passed on to you through the genes, but like I feel like
Oh, okay.
that doesn't sound like too accurate. I feel like that's just a bunch of BS, because I feel like I don't see how that could be a plausible cause for me, being afraid of heights or of snakes,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
yeah.
That's perfect. So right there. So there again, there are certain things where like you have bad experiences with as a child that you like don't even remember, and that associates itself with fear in your brain, which is one cause. And then what's up with in the Sapolsky podcast, he actually answers your question, and basically the mechanism he describes is if let's just use my mom. My mom is the sweetest lady you'll ever meet, but she worries about everything. Like if it's about her kids, like she's worried. Like I guarantee you right now at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, where most mothers are probably just like having their second cup of coffee, doing some laundry, like cleaning the house. She's like sitting at home and just like, man, in the back of her mind, she's just like, I wonder how my son is doing.
Yeah.
And she has two other kids. Like she could worry about them, and she is worried about them.
Yeah.
But she's like also thinking about like how, like what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing. And we spoke yesterday on the phone, and I know this because I've talked to her about this. But so if my mother were to have another child, right, like let's just say she's pregnant right now for some reason, that constant worry would go back to the corticotropin releasing hormone that I talked about earlier, how it's impacting on the amygdala to suddenly have you be like so focused all the time, right? It's also impacting the pituitary, like how, like, okay, am I safe? Like, and just constantly releasing like this cortisol, at the final stages, like you're always just like ready to go and ready to like kill something, or flee from something. And so that circulating cortisol actually impacts on the infant's brain because there is no blood-brain barrier for the infant brain. And so it's actually making that infant very like heightened and like aware of everything. And when it comes out of the mother and it starts learning, it's already got like this cortisolic impact on its brain saying like you are now fearful and alert and afraid about your environment. And so, right, like, you know, infants learn, right? And let's say they go hiking one day and they learn, right? They go up the mountain, you know, and they look over the edge and they're like, oh my God, right? They've learned that this height, like there is a certain height that I can fall from and I will die from.
Yeah.
And they look over and they're like, this is that height.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah.
You know, and then, right, they go to biology class and it's like, there's the black mamba, you know, and like, I was a fan of Steve Irwin as a kid. And so it's just like, you know, that thing like pops up and it's just like, whoosh, and you're just like, oh, it's a black mamba.
Yeah.
And, you know, like Steve Irwin is like, I'm going to go poke it with a stick. And, you know, you're sitting there like, no, Steve, don't do it. It's going to kill you. You just went on for 20 minutes about how dangerous its poison is, that it can spit 20 feet. Like, you know, this poison's like going to come at you at like 100 miles an hour from 20 feet away. Like, it's an MLB pitcher throwing a ball at you from 20 feet away. And this is real, by the way.
Yeah.
But you know, and so then, right, like you learn these things about like animals and you just associate with like, even though like, you know, I'm in the Northeast right now, right? Like rattlesnakes aren't here. But you know what? I know that they could kill me because I've learned, right? And like that hyper aware kid has learned that like these rattlesnakes can kill him or her. And so it's like suddenly they're afraid of snakes, spiders, you know, whatever. Like, and they're just hyper aware, and they're also hyper aware that like that doesn't look like me. I've seen, you know, and it's like a daddy long legs, right? Like the daddy long legs is like fangs aren't even thick enough to pierce skin. You know, they're harmless to you as a human being. But you know, you go to biology class one day. You've already read about the snakes. You're a hyper alert kid who's got the fear thing going. You see an up close slide of the daddy long legs. You see that it's got the fangs, and you're like, snakes have fangs, bro. That thing has fangs. And then you freak out every time a daddy long legs is like seen around you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Definitely, I think I kind of had like a follow-up question on that as well.
Yes, man.
You probably kind of answered it already, but it's kind of that, you know, how much does the environment as well? Because I feel like as a kid, you know, as you were saying, that for example, say I am maybe like 1, 2 years old, and I see my parents. There's a spider in the house, you know, and like they're freaking out about it. Like my mom, for example, like I'm alone with my mom, and she freaks out about it. Does that also kind of affect me, like my relationship? Yeah, okay, yeah, so that's kind of that as well, just like based on what you said, but just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, like so much of your behavior is modeled after your parents. It's not even funny.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought as well. So, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then so my final thing, which is taking me less than 40 minutes to get through right now, but I'm happy about. So is literally just physical versus any other kind of stress. So like physical stress, right? I punch Artem in the head as hard as I can, and he's gonna react to that. Like any other kind of stress, I walk up to Artem midweek, which I think I've actually done. I'm like, hey, so are you ready for that test on Friday? And you're like, oh my God, there's a test on Friday? I mean, you've absolutely done this to me because I'm like the worst at remembering when tests are, but you know, like that sort of thing, right? Like the mental stress.
Yeah.
So, you know, physical stress is basically like fast. It's over with. You know, you mobilize. I believe you mobilize you release epinephrine into the bloodstream, and you mobilize like the sympathetic nervous system, like the actual tissue of like the nerves. With the mental stress, it's look, this could be wrong, but from that Kramer book on the endocrine system, it's just like a slow and steady release from the brain of just the hormones. Like it's not actually like physically like getting ready to go. It's just you like releasing the actual hormones from your brain and not at all like stimulating the nervous system and be like, okay, I'm gonna kill someone. You know, it's so it's a little bit different. And the physical one is like faster than the other one. So like while both are stressful to the organism and like both can cause distress, yeah, that's they're just a little bit different. And that's pretty much all I had. So hey, so let's hear your thoughts on what to do to erase stress. Because now I'm not stressed anymore because I don't have to talk. I just have to ask you questions.
No, actually, I was because I was sent like a post by a friend or like my own Instagram, and it just talks about like just gonna like just see this real quick what it says. But like basically like there's a study was like it's basically about REM sleep and then like emotional regulation and prefrontal cortex, and then without the REM sleep, negative emotions would rule. And then basically like to summarize it, it's that
Oh, I have seen that post.
you have seen it, yeah. It's by
Yeah.
by science, you know. And like it was a really interesting one because like it basically talks about like the amygdala and how it gets affected by basically the sleep you get, and if you don't get the amount of sleep that you need, you know. But yeah, like I thought it was a really interesting one just because I don't know, like just yeah, I can like put up I'm not gonna go deep into that. I'm gonna keep myself to the topic, but I can just put in the link for people to watch. But yeah, but I just okay, some quick stuff, practical. Kicking it off pretty simply. Get a calendar. Very important, especially for someone, especially if you're someone like our beloved Declan. You know,
true.
that is it does help a lot with stress, especially if you're a student with exams, for example, where you know exactly when everything is due and like tests, exams, essays, whatever it might be. Because otherwise, you don't want to end up like near Declan, where the other comes up to you like, "Hey, you know, are you ready for that test we have tomorrow?" And you had no idea. You thought it was next week. So yeah, that's probably like number one. I'd say, you know, get a calendar. That is a life saver and a game changer for sure when it comes to stress. I would say.
I also think checklists. I use checklists a lot now.
I feel like a calendar is also kind of like a checklist. It's you know, it
Yeah,
can
like
checklist.
I agree. I just like using checklists more now. I don't know. You keep going though.
Wait, so like, wait, I just have a question that though. Like, do you use just a checklist, or you have a checklist and a calendar?
No, just checklists. I don't know what day it is right now.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, that's also a good way to really, you know, not really stressful. Just you know, forget about everything and just live in the now. I guess.
There you go.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so that's number one. Like get a calendar. A second thing would be honestly, I'd say that what a lot of people also say all the time is just you know keeping what's it called? Well, yeah, like focusing on things that like you know you can control, and it's easier said than done.
That flow
But
state.
yeah, basically, yeah, it's just because you know if there's something that you can't really control, there's no really need for you to put a lot of energy into it because you can't really do anything about it. Because if you so it's unnecessary to even spend any thoughts. And like I said, it's very easier, much easier said than done. So, but yeah, like what I would suggest for that one, it's like it's a hard one though. I feel like just you know, but I would say that kind of evaluate situations where it's like you're kind of catch yourself, or maybe even have someone else kind of if you have a really good friend who can you know you can tell them that you want to start focusing more on things you can control, and then like they can help you with that, for example. And if they can then you know when they catch you either like to them they see you or like you keep telling them that oh I'm so stressed about this like they're like okay so what can you do about this and then you like tell them and they're like okay so from what I'm hearing you can't do anything so just take a step back and that can be also a really good solution to just having an outside source because I feel that sometimes you just get like this tunnel vision and you're just like so focused on an issue, but you're just wasting all this energy on this issue that you can't do anything about. So having the outside source can be a really good beneficial factor. Just
Fire advice, RDB.
thank you for destroying the people's ears who are listening in headphones back. Everybody loves you right now, man. But yeah, a third thing I would say is because I know like a lot of people are probably in relationships. I know that well, at least I am in one. I know you're also in one. You're in one with God.
Oh, okay. Sure.
No, but yeah, so like in a relationship as well, like that, it can sometimes get like also like can cause you a lot of stress because your partner is being annoying or they're doing something you don't like, and I feel like in that it's a really important thing to do is just like tell them straight away like what is bothering you instead of like thinking, okay, this is like a small thing, I'm not gonna get bothered by it. Like it's like it might go away, but because they might not be aware of what they're doing, like just it's unintentional. So just stating it out, and like even if it comes out bad and they might flip at you, it's still better than you keeping that in, because you keeping that in, it's not doing you any benefit. It's just keep causing you that stress, and then like whenever they keep doing that thing and you don't react to it, it's like just it's messing with your like with you mentally. You're not able to really focus on a task, especially say like you're trying to work on this new project, or maybe you're in school and like you're studying for something, and then boom, all of a sudden you get a text from them that just like triggers you, and then now you're just completely off, unfocused, stressed. And so yeah, to kind of summarize it, communicate, basically say what is bothering you and like what they're doing that is bothering you, and like I said, if it does hurt them, so be it. Like you just have to say it to them and like, just move on from there. And if they get upset at it and then don't want to take it and learn, then they're bad for you and you should leave them. Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was really aggressive. So how long is this relationship with your boo thing gonna last, buddy?
No, honestly though, like it's actually going pretty well though, because like I said, it's just that like I know that I do things that kind of are annoying and stuff like that, but it's like just about like letting me know them. And I'm not saying it's like kind of but yeah, well, just to give examples, because there's like something that are bothering me a lot, and like I said it, like and then it just feels better like for me as well. It's like saying them out loud and kind of getting out, because like otherwise I'm just sitting with that in my head, and it's just it's kind of eating you away. I think that goes for everything. Like even in, I'd say, if you're at work, school, even with friends, it's like if someone does something that you don't like either stop hanging out with them if they're not that close of a friend to you, or just let them know and just say. And that's the thing. I feel like where our boy Mr. Lent did a really good job on this, because he told me a great story about like this. He was like, there's one girl who she thought like they were friends, but then like he flipped on her, and then she's like, oh my god, I thought like we were friends, and he goes, no, like we're not friends, I just know who you are. And just like, but then like that way he just like straight up with her like now. And after that moment, she didn't like hang out, like talk to him at all anymore. But it's like, why would you lead someone on this false friendship? And just because like there's no need for that. If they're annoying doing something, just better to be straight up with them, and if they don't want to correct it, leave them and move on. And like I get it. It sounds pretty harsh, but it's I don't know. I'm like, you gotta look after yourself. You have to be a bit selfish on this.
I was actually gonna say, I've never heard him tell me that story, but he did tell me one time where he's just like, I have no problem cutting people. Like they're dickheads. Cut them. Like we were like 2 hours into like a 3-hour drive at night, like going to like a PRI course.
Bruh.
And he was just like, I have no problem cutting people. They suck. Fuck it. Cut them. I was like, whoa. Okay, I see you. Like, all right, let's go.
No, but honestly though, like I feel like, at least from my own perspective on him, is like he's one of the most happiest people I know. So I feel like he's doing something right with that. So if that's like one recipe, then I definitely would suggest it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like that's like my top three, man. I don't even know. Actually, okay,
Give him
yeah.
5. Give him 5.
Give him five. Okay. Um, give him five.
Yeah. Give him 5.
Sleep.
Ooh, fire, RDB.
I'm just gonna say that as number four. Like just sleep. I don't think I need to
I don't know
elaborate.
why that's number 1.
Yeah, but anyhow, okay. So we got sleep. Just just sleep more because I think a lot of people are not sleeping enough.
Great.
Um, that's going for you, David Goggins. Get some fucking sleep. But yeah.
Yeah, Jocko. Go to
Yeah.
sleep, bro. Someone's
No,
gonna send that to him and he's just gonna come and kill me.
no,
Like no remorse. Just be like, good.
no. But honestly, the thing is, like, I feel that one person I really like is Gary V. Like, have you seen any of his content?
I feel like I have.
Like, he's that dude on like Instagram and YouTube, like almost bald, like really, but swears a lot.
I don't know.
But okay,
I
anyhow,
don't know.
but like, there's a really good thing where it's like he talks about um, kind of like the side hustle or the hustle, and then like Netflix, and compares those two, and it's like where if you say you're happy where you are with working and with your whole life, and then like after work you just come home and just watch Netflix or just sit on your phone or something, but
Oh, you know what? I think I have seen this. I think I
yeah,
have seen it.
you probably have. Like, I feel like it's like everywhere, but it's like and like if that's the case for you, and like people telling you, oh, you need to like do something with your life like that. But the thing is, like, if you're happy doing that, then keep doing it. But if you're not, if you're like coming home and like you hate your job, like you don't like it, then you shouldn't be coming home and like doing those things. That's kind of like the contrast, because as long as you're happy
Yeah.
doing that, like if you're not probably feeling stressed, you're like, I love this, and I just coming home and watch this. Like, I love going to work. Like, I have no issue with that. It's like it's a whole different thing than not liking it and then like coming home and just not doing anything like that. So I feel like that is a huge thing where also affects like just just it kind of miles up, and then like after a few years, even like weeks, can just mess with you so hard mentally and physically, and all that stress is just gonna put you down like much lower, and next thing you know your health's gonna be shit, and then that's gonna put even more stress, and then relationships are gonna get shit, and that's even more stress, and then just it piles up, and it becomes like a shit show. So
I have to agree. Give him 7.
I fucking knew you were gonna do this. I might as well just give him 10.
Ah, damn it! After you give him 7, I was gonna say give him 10.
I kind of knew you would do that, so I might as well just fucking give him 10.
Yeah, give him 10. Give him 10.
Yeah, we'll give him 10.
Let's see. If you can't complete it, then I will. I got you.
No, I got okay, yeah.
6. Here we go. Spit it.
Yeah, 6 sex. There you go, man.
Oh, you know what? Pretty good. Didn't think of
Yeah,
that one. Good one.
yeah. I don't think I need to explain that. I feel like nobody's stressed when they're having sex. That's like, if you're stressed when having sex, like, there's something wrong. I don't know.
People are stressed when they're having sex.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. I swear to God.
Really?
This book. Yes.
No.
Stress can activate your need to have sex, according to this lady. This book right here. Come as you are.
No, but I feel like stress activates your need to have sex because like sex helps you relax.
Come as you are. Yeah,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it does help you relax.
I'm still gonna stick with that one, but I'm definitely gonna like check into that book and check my facts.
Dude, I swear to God, she does like case studies throughout the book, and there's a chick who has, I think her name's Olivia in this book. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. But trust me, she like, her and her boyfriend are like the opposite. Like he really, yeah, this is it right here. I found it. So Olivia, yeah, it's Olivia and Patrick, and they're like grad students together or something.
Mm.
And Olivia is also the chick who thought that she had high testosterone. But Olivia is like, whenever she gets stressed, she's like, I need to have sex. Whenever Patrick gets stressed, he's like, I need to not have sex. So it's just kind of an interesting little dynamic there. But I can't believe that I've referenced that book like 3 times in this podcast.
Must be a good book, man. I feel like we should definitely everybody. Well, would you recommend it for the readers?
I've recommended it to 2 people so far. Both of those people are like kind of hardcore feminists, but I wouldn't call them feminists. That connotation is like not good for them. But both of them are really into like, I would say like women's rights and women's needs. I've recommended to them, and they've both been like, "Oh my god!" Well, one of them actually was like, "You're reading this? Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like 230 pages in. And she's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yeah, I am. Like, I am reading this book." The other was just like, didn't even question it. Was like, "Yeah, great. Give me the book." So
I'm actually surprised as well that you're reading that book, but that's awesome.
Everyone is. Everyone is.
Yeah.
But not really. So yeah, 6 is sex. What's 7? What's 7, Artie? Come on, bring us home here.
7, man. Dark chocolate, mate.
Okay. All right.
At least, okay, we're gonna say it like this. Like, at least for me, like I'd say, like any kind of chocolate helps me relax. You know, just
Yeah,
like
it's delicious.
I think it's like a chocolate and then like some milk with that or whatever your beverage with the chocolate is like. I don't know. I feel that's a huge like your stress reliever. You just some like it has to be solid chocolate. It can't be just like any shit. It has to be like solid chocolate, and just
Okay.
that's important because if you get shit, you're just gonna get stressed out because now you're eating shit chocolate. You know, like that's no bueno. Now you're back.
Talk about that high class, fine chocolate.
Yeah, that fine class chocolate from
All right.
Nicaragua.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Imported by
All right.
Pablo. I have
Hey,
my
I
own
see.
smuggler. Oh fuck! I kind of exploited him now, so he might be. Well, this is the last time I'll see you, Pablo. It's been a ride.
All right. Hit him with 8.
Anyhow, let's keep going. Number 8. Um, well, this is a very typical cliche, but physical activity, you know.
Great one.
But yeah, I definitely say also kind of that going to that is just that physical activity is also fun. That you shouldn't be like doing things that you're not enjoying to do as well. You know, if you don't enjoy working out in the gym, then don't do it. Like, don't think that that's like the only way you're gonna lose weight or like get in shape. Like, there's other activities or methods you can use. So yeah, but physical activity, that is numero ocho.
Great.
All right.
Number 9, baby.
Meet Declan and make friends with Declan.
Well, that's just not even true. I think everyone's stress level as soon as they meet me.
Yeah,
as soon as people meet me, they're like, "Oh my god, my blood pressure is like 150 over 97."
especially if you talk about physiology with the man, that will just get you.
That's true. Like, there's still a picture. I think I have the picture on my phone. I'm going to show this on the podcast of you staring at the drawing that I did of the neuromuscular junction like 4 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago.
It can't be 4 years ago, man.
It's 3 years ago.
Actually, maybe
It was my sophomore year. We were taking X-Phys together, and I had drawn the entire neuromuscular junction on the whiteboard, and you were just, here it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this at all, but it's Artem just staring at a whiteboard full of neuromuscular junction. Like, I've literally drawn a motor unit into a sarcomere, or I've drawn a motor unit. It's just like the motor neuron going to the sarcomere, and then it's like sarcoplasmic reticulum's right there, T-tubules right there. Like, it's a huge drawing, and this girl looks so pissed that you're staring above her. But
I think I know, but like, yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, so it stresses people out. Anyways, so real number 9.
Well, yeah, but like number 9, I still stick by it, you know. But maybe not just you, but like keeping a nice like foundation of friends or relationships.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah, I think that's a big like. I felt that's like what actually helped me because like I felt that I'd say my sophomore year, like spring semester, maybe even junior year, like like fall semester, I was kind of like in a little depression, to be honest, because I felt like I just wasn't really talking to anyone. I was just like I was just very introverted. I don't seem like it, but I'm like very introverted. Just like I hated everyone, and I hated everything. I just didn't want to communicate with anybody. But then I started opening up, and like just felt much better, you know. So I definitely say just like being just in general, like maybe a bit more open. And then again, I understand that's the easier said than done. So if you're an introvert, but trying to find ways to kind of get out of your comfort zone and just interact with people, I think is a really good thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I remember meeting you and thinking you were just the biggest douche I'd ever met in my entire life. Then again, I thought like most kids in that measurement and eval class were like just terrible people.
Yeah. No, I'm not
And
gonna like.
now I'm friends with most of them, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, dude. I remember meeting you, like seeing you the first time, man. Like actually, the first time I saw you, like didn't even like meet you, just saw you. I was like, you outside of Reed with Joe, and
Oh
but I
yeah,
was
doing Wim
just in
Hof.
shorts, like this. Yeah, just like this hairy chested man. I've never seen so much hair in a dude before in my life.
Yeah.
And like, who the heck is this dude? Like sitting outside, I'm like, I like this. I like this man. But then in class, it's like a complete different shit show.
Yo, that sucked. Let's just start there. That sucked. That was the coldest I've ever been. Like, went back in and like, it was terrible. But I'm doing that again this year. So, what was I gonna say? No, but we met each other. I remember like meeting you in measurement and eval, and you like, we both like went to click on the next slide for that end of the year presentation, and you were like, no, you go. And I was like, no, you go. And you're like, fuck you, and like clicked it. I was like, oh, why the aggression? Like, I think this random Icelandic kid is kind of a dick. All he can talk about is soccer, his accent, and he calls it football. Like, it just, it was bad. Now we're best friends for life. Bonded like this. But
things can change.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Man, fuck it. But alright, I'm gonna
No,
bring.
actually, wait. It wasn't that though. I was the clicker guy, and you were like presenting, and you just turned to me and were like, "Can you change the slide?" And I was like, "Whoa, oh, it's okay."
I did not fucking use that kind of voice, man. I would never do that.
You kind of did. You kind of did.
No,
I didn't know you were kind of joking, like not really being that aggressive at the time. But it seemed kind of aggressive at the time. So
fucking way, I did that. I've never done that.
You did that.
Okay, whatever. I did, I guess.
Anyways, hit him with 10. Come on, get there, buddy.
I'm trying to think, like.
You got it. I believe in you. I don't really believe in you. But hit him with the sunlight.
No, man. No.
No?
Fuck the sun. I was planning on saying that, like sunlight, but.
All right, great. Then we're going to 12.
All right, okay, fine. Number 10 is sun. We're gonna keep going with 2 more. You guys
Great.
get
Let's
bonus. Fuck it, man. It's Sunday. Sunday service. Number 11.
You know what? I like that.
Yeah,
What's 12? We'll finish at 12 for real.
Yeah, definitely. Number 12. Start betting on horses.
Nope. That's a bad one. Couldn't finish strong.
No, that was just a joke. No, number 12, like to finish on a really good note. Actually, this is a thing. I think this is a really good one. Maybe it doesn't fit for everyone. Like get a pet.
Yeah.
Because
I like it.
Yeah, at least for me, like I feel like you can definitely relate to this. Is like at least having a pet is like you just even though like you can be like an asshole towards like I think as it is for me, but like I feel like it's just like this other like some creature doesn't like talk back to you. You can just like ventilate all you want to them. They're just gonna look at you and go boof or meow or whatever the kind of pet you have. So it's just like a really nice one, just like to come home to and just have some fun. Like they're always happy to see you, and well, I hope they're happy to see you. If you're treating them nicely, I hope so as well. But yeah, I think we're gonna finish with that number 12. So like you see, like for
Hit him
number,
with 15.
we're not hitting with number 15, man.
Yeah, I think that was a good way to end off. Good one to hit it. Good one. Good one.
Yeah,
Good one.
yeah. Like for me, I have a really good example where it's like I have you as a bear, and I'm very happy. Makes me very happy every day.
Thank you.
It's-
All right. I mean, I think that's the podcast right there.
no, I just would like to say one last thing.
Oh, okay.
I do not like Camden Spear.
Okay. Well, that was aggressive. So, I want to say one last thing too before I sign us off. Abby Hoffner, if you're out there listening to this, I don't know what to say to you. But hi, how are you today? I guess question mark. That's what I got. Also, hi, Dad, because said it to him at the start. Got to say it at the end.
Mhm.
Eventually he's gonna come on, so that'll be fun.
I hope so, especially
You
now
know,
that
and-
my mom on, so we need your dad as well on now.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, let's just I'll just riff a little bit on what we're gonna do with the podcast in the future. So right now, RDB and I have a few guests lined up. One of course, which is my dad, who refuses to be on the whole thing. So that's going to be like a 20-minute podcast. We're going to force him to do, and that's going to be it. Like the podcast is going to be 20 minutes, and that's going to be it. I have no idea what he's going to talk about, but he's, I mean, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then the future, really, we have Mr. Kyle Kusan, who's eventually going to come on. I think we should just Skype him in. I don't know if an in-person thing's going to work, but
yeah, no, I texted him asking about next week, so we'll see about that.
all right. Hey, there you go. We have a long weekend next weekend too, so that'll be fire. What else was I going to say? And then other than that, for guests, we have nobody. So if you're still listening to this for some ungodly reason, and you want to be on here, you let us know, and we'll see what can happen.
I was thinking about maybe inviting the wife just to have like her for like 5 minutes.
Sure. They got to
like,
be on for a full podcast, though.
Yeah, she has some feelings about you she wants to express.
Probably that I'm terrible.
No, they're actually good. They're actually good.
Surprising.
I know.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, other than that, I really don't know who else we're gonna have on.
No, but I feel that's a pretty good guest lineup. Dan, Kyle, and Ria. There we go.
Yeah, pretty good lineup, and then maybe we even get someone like totally random on. Just off the top of my head.
I think you should ask O'Neill.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
That would actually be amazing.
But yeah, and then in terms of content for the podcast, literally 20 minutes before we started this, Artem and I were texting about what we should talk about because we came up with stress, last week. But then, you never know day of what's going to happen. But I think we've definitely planned out that I'm literally going to sit here and yell at Artem again about genetics because I'm doing a massive genetics paper that I'm really excited about, mainly because it's already like 9 pages without references, and and I'm basically going to propose a mechanism for which there is no explanation. And I really,
Is it double spaced?
Yes, it's double spaced. So, sorry about that.
That's still pretty good though. 9 pages already.
I think it's pretty good, to be honest. I'm struggling to remember like what I propose because like what it actually has to do with, because I remember like basically there's a gene interaction with the cell, and I don't remember what it has to do with it. But I'm literally researching metabolism, which is disappointing that I can't pull it out of thin air. But it's a big paper, and I have to do. It's for a class, and I have to do a presentation on it as well. So I think just doing the presentation on the podcast would be interesting-ish. I guess I don't know. Just to kind of have everyone, check it out and see what I present upon and what the knowledge base is with genetics, because genetics is cool, and I don't think people understand genetics nearly as well as they think they do. So, yeah, I mean, that's really what we have planned. Artem, let's get some closing thoughts from you.
With some closing thoughts, I'm really looking forward to the guests we're gonna have. I'm also looking forward to future episodes and more time with you. And as always, I'd like to thank our 5 loyal listeners, as well as, not excluding Dan, the wife. Actually, my step little brother also has joined the crew recently, so thank you very much for tuning in as well. And who else do I know? I think that's it, because I have so many people who always tell me "Oh, I saw your what podcast. I've thought about checking it out, but I haven't yet." I'm like, "Well, why the fuck are you telling me this?" If you haven't checked it out yet, then don't talk about it. Go check it out. That's usually what I tell them. Don't keep telling me you're gonna check it out. Fucking go do it. So,
okay.
I'm looking forward to the things that are to come and to us as well.
Great. I'm I echo those statements. I appreciate everyone who tunes in to listen to me rant about random things in exercise science, because you're just held captive for an hour and 10 minutes with me. But yeah, so really, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, which is only about right here. But, we almost made it through one episode.
I know, but know who did that? The wife.
I don't care who it is.
It's always the wife, man. I'm just telling you, though.
Whatever, bro. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. I've been Declan Morrissey with 2 R's and 2 S's. He's been Artem Brusentov. I don't know how to say his last name.
Brusentov, not Brusentov.
Brusentov. There's a T in his name, man. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, Brusentov. You don't.
Brusentov.
There's an S after the T.
Brusentov.
Fuck off.
Brusentov?
Dude, I feel we're both very stressed. We need to listen to this episode.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Westernbut. Is that your name?
That is good, yeah.
Artem Brusentov.
There you go. Was that so hard?
Yes. Brusentov.
Anyhow, thank you very much.
Say Thursday.
No. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, much love to everyone.
I gotta do that now. Give me the thing.